my art making has definitely helped me during the pandemic. Initially, focus was an issue, but eventually, when one becomes resigned to what we're living through, and because working on my iPad Pro is very convenient, I was able to let go and to accomplish something. I want to talk about them in a different order. I'm going to talk about the one in the middle, Fractured. We'll talk about that one first. I use two apps on the iPad. One is called Procreate, which is a professional app, much like Photoshop, but a little friendlier to use. And I also use another app called iColorama, which allows you to manipulate and color and do all sorts of things. It take forever to tell you what it can do. However, those are the two apps I use primarily, and I'm in and out of other apps occasionally as well, but I won't go into those at this point. The middle one, Fractured, initially was a picture of a blind, Venetian blind, and I took it into Procreate. And in there, I was able to manipulate it. There's a way that I can warp what was initially the blinds. And I fell in love with the shadow and the shape of the blind. And then as I began to move it, I got these black shapes that emerged. So it appealed to me, and so I decided it was finished. So that's one piece. The second piece I'd like to talk about is Sheltering in Place. And this one speaks most of all of the three overtly to my feeling about the pandemic. I did this piece first as a painting that looks nothing like what you see in Procreate. And I liked the painting, but I decided digital painting was not something I wanted to put out there. Let me see what I can do with this. And so I brought it into iColorama that allows me to subtract. And so I began to subtract. And when I subtracted, it leaves white. And this shape emerged, subconsciously, intuitively, I can't say, but it emerged. And I decided I wanted to put a mask on it. I did put this piece out on Facebook, and I got an interesting response from one individual who was concerned that the mask on this individual it doesn't speak to what we want masks to do today for us in the pandemic, which is to protect others, and it's, uplifting. Well, I wasn't only concerned about the mask, I was concerned about the figure. And I was thinking, that this figure said more than just an American dealing with the pandemic, but it was more global or international. And the feelings that might be there and the loss that's probably there. Even though we don't have everything we need here for reasons I won't go into, other countries perhaps have much less. And so, I wanted to make this statement that appealed more to the international community than just what's going on here for us. And it is bleak, I realize. The last piece is Entanglement. And if I can share this with you, this started with a picture of a bird's wing at the Nature Lab, the RISD Nature Lab. And I have a video because Procreate allows you to see the steps that I used to come with the final image. So this is most of the image, I guess, that you can see. And if I click on it, there it is. And these are all the things that I did along the way. Sometimes when people look at digital art, they think it's accomplished quite easily. It isn't. These are all decisions I made along the way, whether to keep something, remove it, and then finally you have the final piece. And this piece was called Entanglement. I'm very fascinated by quantum physics, and entanglement has been in the news recently, and the idea, the fact that we're connected, that molecules or atoms are connected to one another in the universe appealed to me, and perhaps it might have something to say about what we're enduring right now.
Thank you. No, that's fascinating to watch the construction. And like most of these things, you alluded to it in your middle piece that you said, oh, it's done. You just intuitively feel that it's done.
Well, that's it. I play with it until I like it. I have to like it in the end. And if I don't, I don't put it out there. I have lots of failed pieces in my estimation that don't speak to me. Until I get it to do what I want it to do, it's not finished.
Cindy, do you see a residue of the original wing? I was trying to look in there to see if I could.
If I point, I guess I can do it. Can you see my mouse? Right
Yeah.
here, right there is the original, part of the original wing. Right there.
And was it positioned there originally? I thought it was more left top
Well, the
quadrant.
other thing I can do, this program and another program I use allows me to flip it. So I might have flipped it at one point and you didn't get to see that when the flipping occurred, because the movement through the video is pretty fast.
I'm impressed by what a transformative process this is.
Yeah.
Both with this and with the other one with the blinds, really looking how you're creating entire environments and ones that really give me a sense of mixed media on this too, that this really, what you've got is a dynamic range of mark making, particularly with this one, that it really manages to convey a lot through those surfaces, which I think is just a marvelous thing. Again, but with these pieces, I'm seeing real depth and a real sense of space on these that I find very compelling.
Thank you for your feedback.